Hey guys, I thought that I would do a quick video on some things that I have been experiencing and noticed watching some videos that maybe some other guys might relate to some of the things I have gone through and experienced and how I handle things. So this is just going to be, it's not going to be targeted at any specific age group. However, us older FTMs may be able to relate to some of the things I'm going to talk about a little bit better, because what I've seen in the older FTMs is we've all have experienced struggles for a very long time. And it's a chronic struggle up until being able or choosing to finally transition into male. You'll probably see me looking at the air a lot because I want to come across correctly, and I don't want anything taken out of context or anything. This is not targeted again at any specific person, but it is things that have happened that has caused health issues. So that being said, I'm just going to try to get right into it. So what I have noticed is, and this is even at the support group here that I attend to, is that because of the era that we were born in, not having the support or not knowing what it was at all, or knowing and not knowing how to, talk about it, or having money to even do it. I'm talking about transitioning. Because back in the day when, there wasn't a transgender label. It was either you were a transvestite or you were transsexual. And the standard of care basically was you had to live as who you felt you were on the inside, on the outside for a year before anything could be done. Now, there were some people who could face those challenges in their lives, and I admire those of you who are watching that are doing it. I couldn't. I don't like to bring drama to my plate, because I guess I had so much drama as a kid. I just rather settle, basically. And that's what I did. But what's happened in settling and trying to accept yourself for who you are, but not having opportunities to change it for all different reasons, things start happening emotionally. And what I found out in my life, of course, like always, I'm going to use myself as the example, is that I carried a stress. And I'm going to say it's a hidden stress. Because once you figure out, oh, I'm not supposed to be this way according to society, because my biological gender is different, and they only see the biological gender, I've got to start suppressing some of these things. For females, it was a lot easier because you could become a tomboy. Although there was a lot of conservative people who didn't care for the tomboy girls, it still was semi-acceptable. I wasn't allowed in school to wear pants until the 4th grade, which puts it around maybe 73, 72, somewhere around there. And boy, when that happened, you never saw me in another dress except for on Sundays again. I even had my fourth grade teacher ask me in sixth grade, when I was in sixth grade, why don't you ever wear dresses anymore? You never wear dresses. Your dresses were so pretty. Da 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 da. And I just kind of looked at her, never answered her. I just kind of went and played. I wasn't disrespectful, but I just kind of shrugged my shoulders and went and played. But at that moment, no matter how old you are, you start suppressing that person inside. And the more you have to suppress them, the more disappointed you become in certain situations, the more oppressed you are as an individual. And anger tends to come in and build up in a lot of people. I didn't get angry. I just really couldn't understand it. I just was, every time things would, like a spurt of the moment, I would act like I feel I am. And if I got knocked down for it, I just really put a dislike to the person that said it. You know, like you do when you're mad at your mom. I don't like my mom. But overall, I would take it with me to bed and not understand it. As I learned to turn to God in my life and really depend on that higher power, it relieved me. It didn't take it away, but I would get peace out of that moment. Now, through the years, as we deal with it, a lot of us lived in lesbian lifestyles because we were attracted to females. Some of us did not. Some of us were attracted to men, and we lived that heterosexual life. But what I see now is there is a lot of us who are, number one, either disabled due to physical ailments, emotional, mental. There are people through the years who couldn't understand why they would be so angry, and one minute they're okay and the next minute they're flying off the handle. So here in our 40s and 50s, we're facing issues that, hey, we had some mental health issues because of our lives, because we were handed a unique life. I mean, it's unique enough to have to be gay, lesbian, and queer in this society, but to be transgender is on a whole new level. Yes, we're still a minority, because people are going, what the hell, you feel like something inside? You're just fooling yourself. You just want to be. You're just a wannabe. They don't understand it. So what's happened is a lot of us have some mental issues where we're on antidepressants. Some of us have physical ailments for trying so hard through the years. Everything I did, whether it was building a patio or holding the babies and feeding them, I did what was natural to me. Now, as far as my nephews and nieces when they were born, it was very awkward for me. I've never shared this before, but the nurturing part the nurturing part that would come out in me, it was very like, this isn't me. But I went with it because this, I was their aunt, and I was the only aunt here in town, and I was going to be the best aunt I could be. So how I dealt with all this adversity in my life is I was faced with it. I processed it. I realized that it's not acceptable for the gender I was assigned biologically to society. And society is what reads you. And so I didn't harvest an angry pathway and let the anger just keep building up and building up. What I did is, because of my religious background, because I was taught to depend and lean on that higher power, every time I went to prayer about these issues, I never felt wrong. Never. Even my sexuality. I never felt wrong. And people would say, how can you do that? God doesn't like that. Da da da. And I thought, the God that comforts me and gives me peace is not like that at all. And that's, of course, when I started changing my religious views from religion to just spiritual. But I guess that's what makes us either half empty or half full glass people. I was always half full. I was always optimistic that someday things would prevail to my advantage, that my suffering would not be in vain. And I didn't know what the outcome was going to be. I didn't know what it was going to be. But I knew someday that I would understand things to where either they changed for me or the understanding was just that and gave me the strength to keep going. It's very hard to sit. I don't know if you guys sit and analyze yourself a lot. I do. Not in a imperfect, you're imperfect, you have these faults or anything like that. But what I analyze is when I come to certain situations and maybe I don't handle them right, I'll process them for a long time. And if I'm not right, it takes me a while to process them and figure out, why wasn't I right? Why did I react that way? So anyway, I've learned to better myself as an individual. Now here's another thing that happens is physical. A lot of people who live very high stressful, not good stress, but bad stressful lives usually end up with a weight problem. It doesn't mean that they're overeaters. It doesn't mean that their diet's bad. But what it does mean is that something in their life has triggered themselves to protect themselves. And a lot of times it means body weight. Women, there are some women who have been sexually abused as children who put on weight so they are ugly to men. There are people who don't feel good about themselves because of maybe some emotional abuse who add weight. And in that weight, they hide themselves. And the more weight, the more insecure, the more lack of self-esteem, the more lack of self-confidence that they have in themselves. And it just builds up through the years. Now here I am, and I have weight on me. What do I do for that? I have studied when I've come across trainers, personal trainers, people in the media who have the breakthrough, I've bought all the books. I've read them all. I've got Jillian Michaels, Bob Harper. I've got the Atkins in 3 different series. You know, I never bought the South Beach diet, but I've read upon it. The Mediterranean diet, etc., 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 etc. So this last year I get really sick and I put on some weight. But it's only been in the last 3 months I've really put on the weight. But I'm still heavier. Okay, I still have been heavy since it's been 17 years now that I have been overweight and considered in the medical standards of care obese. How have I handled that? Well, thank God I have a partner who loves me no matter what. But I don't handle it always so well. I sabotage myself. I'll go a whole weekend binging on sweets. I've noticed on testosterone that I have really craved breads, and I've ate almost a loaf of bread every week since I've been on testosterone. Up until probably about a month ago when I realized this isn't good for me. So here's another book that I have read, and I really think it's not a diet. It dips into your emotional and physical needs. It makes you open up some closet doors inside and figure out why you're in a fat mode. Talks about fat mode, thin mode, how that is our nature. We're either predator or prey, and how our body responds to that. So I'm just kind of introducing this book. It's called The Gabriel Method. This guy weighed over 400 pounds, never dieted a day in his life. And he didn't count calories. He didn't exercise 2 and 3 hours in the gym. He just incorporated positive thinking. At first he went through to see why he was the way he was. He did some emotional. He's done all kinds of studies. This book has references on everything he talks about. He's spent 10 years studying, and he was over 400 pounds, and he's down to a prime weight that he had wanted to be. Why I'm sharing this is because I've got something really good from this book. I got not to beat yourself up, to realize things aren't always in your corner, and so we have to deal with them. We can't beat the other guy in the other corner. So what do? We fight until we're down. I've got from this book that you don't have to diet to survive in this world and be healthy, and that the mind controls many more things than what we realize. Now, I'll tell you, I'm a very big thinker, and I have a lot of theories. So anyway, this video is going to be a little bit long, but I really have a passion to say this. So let's go back. I have a lot of theories on why things happen the way they do. What it all comes back to is having a positive attitude. There's always a reason. We don't know it. We may never know it in some incidences. But on the other hand, if we really are in tune to our lives and our everyday dealings, we can see why things happen the way they do sometimes. And let's say you're up for a job promotion and you don't get it, and this is about the 5th time you've been passed up. If you really think about it, and I've been in this spot, you really wouldn't want to work under the people you work under. Yes, you deserve it. You're every bit qualified for it. But you really don't want to be somebody's toilet paper. And I didn't look at it that way for a long time. I would get angry and get upset, and then I think, okay, it's just meant to be, and then I'd go for it again. But one day I just realized, wait a minute. Yeah, the money would be great, but I wouldn't be happy. I'd be stressed out all the time. I'd probably end up hating the people that was over me. And actually they went through many people because those people ended up quitting. So things happen. So I'm a theorizer. But this guy, John Gabriel, the Gabriel Method, he gives you a lot of good emotional tools. A lot of different ways to think of things as far as weight's concerned. Talks about the roller coaster diets and why they don't work. But overall, what he talks about is becoming emotionally healthy, physically healthy, and when you face those things and get them out of the closet, then your body will start storing the fat in the closet and not in your body. It'll be a natural turnaround because your body will understand that it doesn't need to contain fat for us to be safe, and that the thin person will be safe too because you're emotionally healthy. So I know there's a few guys that I subscribe to that have dealt with weight issues, and I don't know them personally on an everyday basis, but I can almost guarantee that every one of them has had emotional disappointments, emotional or mental, physical abuse in some way that either they've hid behind the weight, or even not even at home growing up. I'm not talking about just that. I'm talking about in the job area. People are bullies in the jobs too, and a lot of you know that. Being a woman in a man's field, having that frustration, if you only knew the real me, you wouldn't be passing me up kind of attitude. But there's a lot of, even I harvest a certain amount of disappointment still. Not because I'm not happy, but because I haven't learned to deal with certain things in my life from my past yet. I wasn't abused. But on the other hand, being born into a body that doesn't match your mental, it's not abuse, but it is struggle through your whole life. So I'm still working through those things and how I project myself, the image I have of myself. Is it healthy? Is it a fat image? Am I comfortable in this fat body? Do I hide behind it? So it makes you go and maybe question yourself a little bit. Maybe it opens up some doors. Like I said, opens up a closet. Maybe it won't even touch you. I don't know. But I wanted to share it because I really enjoyed the read and the information I got from it. For example, after you read the book, to implement the method, the first month, this is what you have to do. You have to do a visualization. He's got a CD, a 10-minute CD he has you relax and close your eyes and listen to as you're going to sleep. When you look up in the morning, he has you get a picture of what you want to look like what you think you should look like. Whether it's a movie star or a model or whatever, not saying you're going to have the exact same body, but that's what you want your body. That's what you're aiming for. So in the AM, when you get up, you look at that picture for about 30 seconds. Visualize your day, how you want it to go. You eat breakfast, anything you want. Okay? All he encourages is try to go more organic. Supplements. He encourages to take a probiotic on an empty stomach. Take 2 digestive enzymes after you eat breakfast. And 5 to 10 grams of omega-3, and you can put that throughout the day. He also encourages a multivitamin and a multimineral. And those can come in one. The omega-3 he talks about is the flaxseed. A lot of you already know some of this stuff, but that's all you have to do the first month. There's nothing about diet. But as you turn your emotional and you turn yourself into understanding your history and where you are, you become positive and you start craving better foods, whole foods, natural foods. And so it eases you into something and doesn't just cut you off, put you on a high peak and feeling high, and then you're going to go off of it as soon as you quit doing what they're saying. This is a life thing. It gets easier and easier each month. So those of you out there struggling and don't understand everything yet, doesn't mean you have to. But in order for you to really be happy, because part 1 is you're transitioning physically. In order to really be happy, because you find that transitioning doesn't cure all, you still have to work on you. You were that person in the female body, you're this person in the male body. So you have to get that person healthy. So try this if you have the money. The Gabriel Method. Read up on it. See if you'd like the reading. It's an easy read. It's about $15 book. Heck, his website might even give you one free if you're that desperate and don't have the money. I shouldn't say desperate, but if you really think it'll help you and you don't have the money. That's what I wanted to share today. There's a lot of pain that people don't see. But if people are on things and understand things, they can see it in other people's eyes. I struggle with my weight, I'll be honest. But I'm going to do the method. I'm going to see how it goes. It's just a small thing to contribute each day of your life to a positive way of thinking. So we'll see. Alright guys, take it one day at a time. Make your journey as simple as possible.